Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, October 26th. In this episode, only one thing can be discussed. Well, some other things too. An Old Trafford, Annihilation, Ole out, but for real this time. Liverpool 5, Manchester United 0. And it was the manner. Mike, how do you feel about this result, a seismic result for Manchester United's history, actually?
Yeah, that was a shit kicking. But I want to dial it back to you're going to get into the Ole out craziness, and I'm not playing.
Give me 1 second. Let's not. I don't think the game is. Everyone's talked about the game already. Like, I want to talk about everything around it. Right?
Yeah, Salah
that's where we
was
want to go.
masterful. Yeah. Real quick, a word on that pass from Jordan Henderson, because if that was De Bruyne, then people would bow to it, and people would make a statue of Kevin De Bruyne about that fucking pass. That was insane.
The thing. It was really good. It was for the last goal, right? The thing is, De Bruyne tries that pass twice a game, whereas Jordan Henderson does it once
every 6 months. Yeah. All right. So we had a weekend on our hands where Arsenal won on Friday. They looked amazing. Chelsea won.
They did look amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Chelsea won by a touchdown, and everybody crowned them the kings of the fucking overworld. And then City quietly beat the 5th place team, and then you had Liverpool
at the time.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to talk about who the 5th place team was going into last weekend. And you had Spurs lose because it was Harry Kane's fault. And you have United, right? What's the common denominator here? It's that these fucking pundits are so shit at their job. I'm not here to say that they don't know the game, that they don't know the sport, and they don't know how to talk about the sport. The problem that we find, and actually the advantage that you and I have over the Gary Linekers and all of these guys, is that they watch something, they consume it, and then they get asked what they just saw for the last 45 minutes. And very few people in the world are good at that in anything, right?
Yeah. Now, the ones that are good are actually really, really good.
Fine. But now, yes, of course. And now keep in mind also that they've got a producer in their ear saying, oh, talk about this talking point. Talk about how Ronaldo doesn't do this or whatever. And talk about how great Salah is. The Robbies do it for NBC. It's clickbait. Yeah. It's bullshit. And it's the human condition to an extent. Like, right. You're like, I just saw this. I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. So now, like I said, on Friday, we were crowning Arsenal not shit. They're still shit. They're still shit. Chelsea, world beaters. No, they're flat track bullies, right?
Yeah.
Listen, my argument goes off the rails because Liverpool were completely unbelievable. And United were arguably as bad. But guess what, guys? We've been telling you for 3 months that they have me and you as basically holding midfielders, right? McFred. They're worthless. So why are we sitting here on October 26th, 25th, whatever day it is, acting surprised, the unmitigated gall that we would have to say, I can't believe that just happened. Now, the manner in which Liverpool took their goals, unbelievable, but enough already, right? There's no contextualization of these results. There's no contextualization of what they've just seen. And like I said, it's the combination of that and the clickbait and pushing these talking points.
It's narrative. It's male soap opera, right? How many times does Erica Kane die? She doesn't die ever. She's going to be on the show next week.
But the problem is that you've got the quote unquote Premier League scriptwriters. You've got the most dramatic pieces of sporting entertainment, arguably in the world, better than the NFL, longer, twice as long as the NFL too.
Yeah.
It's incredible how they've been able to bottle this. We don't need man-made narratives. There are narratives, right?
Yeah.
And so this is where I get really tired right around the same time every year. And for the last 3 or 4 years, I'm like, just enough already. Yes, Spurs were better for 80 minutes of that game. And no, it's not fucking Harry Kane's fault.
Yeah, but the story is it's his story. He's the team. He is Spurs.
And you have these jerk-offs, Man City fans I saw on Twitter who were like, oh, I wonder how much he would have cost now. Hey, Dick knows. If you would have bought him, he'd have 14 goals by now for you morons.
He absolutely would have 14 goals
by now. He's carrying this sad carcass of a fucking club through the mud with him. Yeah. And now you're going to turn around and act like he doesn't give a shit because, by the way, last year and 2 years, last 3 or 4 years, he's been the guy who's been on the line making last save clearances more than any other center back.
I think the interesting thing with the United thing though is like what's happening in England right now is there's literally a debate going on about whether a pundit should call for managers to be fired. That's literally the conversation is, does Gary Neville, does Paul Scholes, does Rio Ferdinand, are these guys that are United guys? And granted, United pundit players are going to be on television in England because Manchester United is the biggest team in the fucking world, right?
Sure, yeah.
Is it their obligation to call for his head, basically? Like, does Gary Neville have to say, Ole should be fired? He's not up for the job. That's literally the debate that they're having, right? Like, that's one thing that's happening in the media space. The other one that drives me nuts is like, you and I have been on the show and you sort of laugh at me like, why are you saying Ole out again? No shit, Ole out. Everyone knows in the whole fucking world that this guy is a championship manager. And that fact that yesterday's game is now he's going to be out. He's been terrible the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
By the way, he was getting fired at halftime on Wednesday, right? Like,
because he's not good.
What I expect from the punditry, and I understand that this is a tall order. This is a lot more to ask than I ever really thought about. And watching the NHL on ESPN proved it to me. But it's that I want you, the professional, if you guys had a Hall of Fame
I don't know.
They would be in the Hall of Fame, right? These guys are legends. These guys have the ability to see the field in ways I could never even dream of. So exactly right. Tell me about the game that I don't know. What don't I understand about this? I've been watching your sport for 10 years. I don't know fucking anything compared to you, right? Yeah. But like I said, it is very difficult in the moment to contextualize this stuff and not to just say, holy shit, Arsenal look great. Holy shit, Norwich is the worst team ever. You know what? Norwich isn't even the worst team in the last 12 months. Okay.
They're actually on a historic pace to be worse than Derby. That's how bad they are.
Okay.
I haven't watched
Sheffield United last year was fucking worse.
They were
in
the end. Yeah. So, I mean, the United thing is it's such an interesting sport. And in this way, a loss is not a loss. It's how you lose, right? Sure. For United, this isn't just that had they lost 2-0, they could have lost 5-0. As long as it was because of certain reasons. Actually, no, 5-0 is pretty bad. But
if they had a red card early and
right, they looked laughable. They looked disjointed. Bad. They looked literally like they didn't have a plan, and they don't have a plan. It's clear. Like the team that was put out for that game was the same team that Solskjaer put out at Atalanta that was down 2-0 and looked awful, and he had to bring on Pogba and crew to make the change that got them to be on the comeback. And he was going to do the same thing again. Sure. Like it's just madness, right? It's folly. But what we want, and I think the thing that is the problem for people like you and I, who are insane people, basically, why would we have a podcast?
Absolutely. Right.
It would be like, we watch this shit. We want more. We want extra. Like I could have watched all the United stuff, and I do watch all the United stuff to find anything that I can bring to you guys on this podcast that's different, right? And so that's where these narratives come in. And I have a little bit less. I like Gary Neville. So and he, by the way, if you don't know who he is, he's the what's his equivalent? He's the he's the Tony Romo essentially of the Premier League, right? Like the most respected pundit who calls things before they happen, right? I mean, he's not that good, but whatever.
Yeah.
He is the most respected pundit, right? Because he's outspoken and he's outspoken as a working class person and will call the government out when it made sense, which is kind of cool. Anyway, so he basically is saying this team, he's saying everything but Ole should be fired. He's saying the team is unprepared. I can't see what they're doing on the coaching ground. I can't see what Man United is doing. He gave a really good tidbit, which was this. He was like, when you defend and you are in training, you have to play like you're going to play in the game. No goals. That was a really good insight that I listened to. Like, it was the hour-long post-match game. He was like, when we trained, it was no goals. And if we gave up a goal in training, you fucking bitch that guy out. You didn't run back. We're doing 7v7s and you gave up a goal? No fucking way. That was a really good tidbit like you were looking for, where you go, oh, Ole's not doing that. He's not going no goals, right? Or if you give up a goal in training, you're not playing, right? That's definitely not happening, right? They're not coached at all. It's just, I think, and I made this comment, I think like, so one of the things that happened in the United game is all of a sudden United started pressing out of the blue. Like they've never, whenever they beat City because they sit back. Whenever they beat anybody, they beat them because they sit back and hit on a counter. All of a sudden, they started pressing as though someone went like this. All right, boys, it's Liverpool. We're at home. We're going to take it to these fucking Scouser scumbags. We're going to go out there. We're going to take the game. We're going to be on the front foot. We're going to go get them. And everyone's like, yeah, fucking. And Ollie's like, come on, boys, let's go out. Let's go do it. And then the two young guys who are on the team were like, did we train on pressing? Like, what's the trigger? What do we do?
What do we do? Yeah.
And they go out there and someone presses and you go, well, fuck, he's pressing. Now what do I do? Oh, I've got to press. So, and then Liverpool just went right through them because they literally don't have a system. They don't, like, I think Ole goes out there and just thinks that, I think he thinks the talking that Sir Alex Ferguson did when he played was all the coaching that he did.
Yeah.
rather than all the stuff they did that he's not thinking about, because he was like, oh, why are we doing this stupid drill? He's remembering Ferguson's talks, not all the training they did. So he's like, I brought back Man United. We play this way. I remember everything the gaffer used to say. I'm like, don't you remember that stupid training that you did over and over again where you ran back and forth and did shuttle runs? And when you saw a guy lift his finger up, you ran with him. Do you remember that? Or maybe he was the striker and everyone said, watch what Ollie does. When Ollie goes, you go. And he never trained for it because they were living off his instincts. It's true. Boggling that a team that expensive and that good played that bad.
It is. And before we go any further on United, you need to be said, at the moment, they were playing the best team in Europe. Okay? They were playing the best team in Europe with the best player in the world.
He's definitely the best player in the world.
But he's the best player in the world, and he is on another fucking planet right now.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah, it's not close. And he did shit that the best player in the world does. Okay?
Yes.
And so you had a combination. I think Liverpool
didn't play well.
How fucked up is this? That they played okay, but he played unfucking believably.
He always does.
Right?
Every day.
That's what I mean. So far be it for me to complain that Liverpool isn't getting enough credit here. You know I hate them like I hate ISIS.
They're really good.
You know, ISIS makes a couple good points. Anyway, I think that they're actually getting lost in all this. How?
You know what? I've got it. You know what it is? Manchester United is France in March of 1940. Just like, we're France. We got this.
Yeah.
Like the Germans, it'll be fine. And then the Wehrmacht goes right through the Ardennes, and then Churchill calls Gamelin, is like, hey, where are your reserves? Reserves? What do you mean? We don't have any reserves. They're in Belgium with your army.
We have Sancho.
Yeah, we have Sancho. Like, are you fucking kidding me? What are you doing? You had a year to prepare.
Yeah, you didn't buy one defensive midfielder?
Why are the tanks in a line? I mean, I don't know. Do you have gasoline? What are you talking about? We use the roads. They bombed you on the roads. What are you doing? That's my good World War II reference for the day.
That was good. That was strong.
Yeah. It was very much France 1940. It was very much that, right? Like, and I don't want to call Liverpool the Nazis, but the Liverpool are the Nazis, except they wear
I mean, they have a German coach made in the lab, so
right.
I mean,
God damn it, he's a Nazi. Anyway, it was incredible, but they weren't even good. United were they literally ran into each other.
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka on the wing and for the first goal is like pressing someone when someone's marking him. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, I have been on the end of Liverpool ass kickings as
sure.
right?
So have I.
Like really bad, where we're down 3-0 because Anfield turns up to 11 and they're in your face, pressing you and kicking your ass. This was not that. This was just, we're missing our starting midfield, really, Keita and Milner.
Right.
And, and
but by the way, before he got hurt,
playing a
Keita
rookie
was
center
fantastic.
back. Konate has played 2 games in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Just clopped aside today's a day. Trent didn't do much. In fact, he was on skates. I mean, he had a couple of good balls, but they just went through them like pate through a goose. It was awful. I laughed because I was in a group with all the Scousers at the Fan Fest in LA.
Yes. Yeah, which I want to hear more about that in a second. But yeah.
Oh, baby.
It was crazy. The first chance of the game goes to Bruno, and he puts it into
Rosie.
And
because, like I said, Liverpool weren't that good. Honestly.
I went to take a piss, and it was like 2-0. And I was like, whoa. But yeah, I mean, so that's my axe to grind on the punditry. I just, every day of this weekend had a different storyline. Like, again, Man United, Liverpool was the last game of the week. You had Arsenal look amazing. By the way, they looked fine. Villa looked like complete and utter shit. Okay.
Yeah. They played with 3 at the back and it was a disaster.
It was a nightmare.
It was really bad.
They didn't bring on Bailey early enough. And then when they did, it was okay.
They were okay in the second half.
Saturday morning, right? Chelsea did what championship contenders do to garbage shit bottom of the table teams. They beat the shit out of them.
I have a bone to pick with you. You like Farke staying. I think he has to go. Like
I respect it, but here's the thing.
He's got to go. Oh, but here's a narrative thing. No one talks about him getting fired. Is it because it's Norwich?
Cares. Nobody fucking cares.
Yes, but if you're a Norwich fan, you care. I mean, people who are small level teams, they want their teams talked about. They complain about where they are on Match of the Day, the famous show.
We're going to give Norwich 3 minutes.
I'm sure if we had Norwich fans, they'd be mad that we don't talk about them.
We're going to give them 3 minutes on this show because I told you today, if we spend 20 minutes talking about Norwich, we're never going to
No. But I just wanted the context of just like, he should be fired.
Well, in a vacuum, yes, right? But the problem with Norwich is that they are financially cash-strapped. They are trying to keep their team afloat, and the best way they know how to do it is winning the championship or coming close and being promoted to the Premier League, even if it's just for a cup of coffee and you're going back down. They spent a lot
of money this time, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean...
They sold Ben Dia. They got Brandon Williams from United as a backup. They've got... Right. Tabak that was on Liverpool last season for the stop back. And
they grabbed Sargent because Pookie is older than dirt.
And he's not scoring.
He's not doing much.
They did what they should do. I just think that if I was a player on that team, I wouldn't want to feel like there's no accountability, that my coach can lose 20 games in a row in the Premier League, which is what has happened. Going back to last season, they're on more than 20 games in a row lost.
Okay. There are different ambition levels. There are the Leicesters who come up and have an ambition to get into the top half of the table, and then they win the fucking league. There's Brentfords who are like, actually, we're smarter than these motherfuckers, and we're going to beat them at their own game.
Although they've been getting screwed.
They have been. And then there's Norwich, who's like just happy to be at the party. We know. Here's the thing about demoted teams is that the air can come out of those tires so fast, and they can go from contender in the championship to mid-table, and then it's all over. But
Then you're Leeds, and you're 17 years in the wilderness. Right. You don't want to be that.
They know what they're not, and I respect the shit out of them.
Yeah, I just think though. You can't just keep the same. I think it goes stale. I think you can lose the players.
Sure.
I think
absolutely.
Now, maybe it's not this season. This might not be the season for it, and you're just content to go down, right? That's fine. But I would want to show the players that we have intent to stay in the league.
Okay.
I would want to show the players within the same structure. You can still change the manager. They just need a new voice, right?
Here's the thing. Can you attract a manager who will play the type of football that if you go down will bring you right back up? Can you attract him to Norwich?
They got him from the Farke is from the second division of Dortmund. He was the youth coach.
Yeah.
You have a guy in Wagner he's in Germany. You could even get another German coach. You
He
could
was
get
one of
an
the worst
attacking manager.
teams.
They stayed up one season playing attacking football. I'm saying you could still go down, but don't go down not changing the easiest thing to change.
But you lose control quickly if you don't put the right guy back in charge. All right, put it this way. Let me walk back my statement a little bit. I'm not saying I'm going to ride with Daniel Farke till the day I die. What I'm saying is you better be fucking right if you're going to do it, because this has been proven that you can go bouncing back and forth, be financially solvent and squared away there. But if you fuck that up, and
by the way, I even know the coach they should get.
Who?
Ian Evatt. You haven't heard of him? I promise you. He's the coach of Bolton. He brought up a team called Barrow from the second division, did 3 promotions in a row, and they literally called them Barrow-Salona. And they have a submarine on their logo because it's where the subs were built in
I love that,
England.
Barrow-Salona.
And he is a really good coach and young and unproven. And if you jumped him into Norwich, he would be happy to make that jump.
Our 3 minutes on Norwich are up.
Okay,
but we do need to talk about how Chelsea were, like I said, they do what championship contenders do, and they beat the shit out of them. And tip of the cap to them. But again, they've lost. They have dropped points in 3 matches this season.
Yeah.
The very valiant draw at Anfield, which they were down a man,
it was actually super heroic. When you
I understand
think about it. Yeah.
They lost to City. And they lost to Juventus, who's honestly not your father's Juventus.
No, they're not very good.
So until they beat somebody, they're third best for me.
I think everyone agrees with that. I think they are third best.
Wow.
I was thinking of maybe Chris Wilder, formerly of Sheffield United, could take that Norwich team.
Would you stop it with Norwich? We're not going to get anybody listening.
I just wanted to get the manager's name.
Where do we go from here? What do we want to talk about?
So I think the thing that's interesting about the Chelsea game is, what does Lukaku feel like? He scored early. There was a moment the narrative kicked up for them to score. Then they kind of stopped scoring. Mason Mount comes back in, and they play, for lack of a better word, a more City style with the small kind of punch and Judy strikers who want the ball at feet and go at them and can move around, be more interchangeable. And they put a 7 on Norwich. Does Tuchel have enough guts to be like, you know what? Maybe not Lukaku. Because Lukaku kind of has the same problem that some of these strikers have. They can't press. They're not fast enough.
Which is weird because he's a gazelle and he's actually a horse, right? Like he's
maybe it's
the
fitness,
fast.
maybe it's the quickness, maybe it's not what he wants
to
do. He wants to go in behind. So that's an interesting piece of maybe they can play differently. Maybe they have another gear now and they can sort of think about it. But when they play that way, then they do need Pulisic, and that's how they won the Champions League, right?
They have those dudes. They had 18. They now have 18 different goal scorers, I think, maybe 17. Either way, it's a fucking tremendous amount for
and they get a lot of goals from defense, which is cool.
Right. It's probably 16 or so games into the season at this point, including Champions League, including the cups and all that. So that's incredible. But honestly, and Lukaku has not been on the sheet in 6-7 games.
Yeah. So I mean, I love them like this. I love them in the 3 at the back with Chilwell and James and Jorginho and Kovacic. I mean, everyone, this whole front, the 3 can really move around and press and do things. But again, like Norwich is poor and they're just not good enough.
They did what they're supposed to.
And that was easy.
I don't trust Chelsea to not regress. Their back
I think they'll lose. I think they'll slip because of draws. They won't lose games. They'll just draw their way out of the championship.
Sure.
Because they can't.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah. However, and at this stage of the season, as we wait for Liverpool to have their comeuppance with AFCON, it's got to be City's to lose, and by probably a comfortable margin at this point.
Yeah, City.
I know you hate hearing that, but like, I don't mean to make it sound like Chelsea are shit. They're not.
No, they're fantastic. These are like
this is
like you're not. It's 95 points.
Yes,
this is the goal.
Well, because here's the other reason: there are only 3 good teams in this league. United are clearly shit. Arsenal is shit. Spurs are shit. I mean, you go from 4 to 12, and they're all
if we went back and listened to the things, United is as talented a team as those other teams, as our top three.
As an
They
individual,
just don't have. They don't. Sorry, they're not. They're missing a talented coach, right? Like if you count the coach as the piece of data that helps your team kick on, it matters, right? Coaching matters, right?
Yeah.
You do need the players, but this is showing like if you don't think that Jurgen Klopp wouldn't win with that United team, you're out of your fucking mind because
I don't. What is he going to sign Jordan Henderson to play the 6? Because
he would find a way to play that is to the strength of that group. Like if you don't think Conte, if he comes into that United team, if you don't think that within 2 months that team is petrifying, you're not paying attention to how good that team is.
Oh,
it's Ole's fault.
I understand, and I'm not arguing that, but you can't play 8 attackers at once, right?
You just can't. You can try.
You can try. you sure as shit can try.
That brings me to Brentford, to Brighton versus City, and they don't have their 8. And what did they do? They were like, Graham Potter being creative. He was like, you know what? I'm going to play Adam Lallana here and see what happens.
How'd that go?
It did not go well.
It
did not go well in the first half. He was getting dominated. And City in the first half the first half hour are probably the best they've played. But they did what they normally do. They blow you away. They score the 3 goals. And they kind of don't sustain the craziness. But
they just put it
different from, I'm going to keep going with Ole, and you can shake your head. Different from Ole, what we saw with Brighton was he came, he put on Lamptey, he got rid of the 3 at the back, he went, changed the shape.
Sure.
And you know what? That team played really well, Brighton, in the second half of that game and got a goal and deserved it. And they gave up a final goal in the last 3 seconds. Now, it's a 4-1. It's only 2 goals different than what happened to United, but it's a completely different manner of defeat. It's like just night and day. And if Graham Potter was fucking managing United, he'd have a hard time because the players might be like, who the fuck is this guy? But if they wouldn't feel like they're going into the game with their pants down, which is what they are, right? Manchester United are, I'm going to make a really bad reference. I don't care. Like the movie Arthur. They're like a really rich, handsome, drunk guy who shows up who really is missing their potential. And that's what they are.
Ole is Liza Minnelli.
Sure.
There you go. She's got the meal ticket. She's just got the meal ticket. That's all.
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm making bad references.
No, that's a good one. I like that one.
There was one on a podcast that said maybe Wes Anderson could be their coach.
Oh,
then they'd be very quirky and whimsical.
Yeah, the Manchester United Hotel or whatever the fuck.
Right, they would wear really cool 70s outfits and short shorts. Bellhops. Yeah, they wear little hats and have string mustaches.
Yeah.
But that would be incredible.
They'd sign Adrian Brody to be the 6.
I do want you to talk about Spurs and what is going on with Spurs in London. Like you've lost 4 games in London. What's happening?
We lost to Chelsea, who are a better team. I don't know who the 4th one was.
We can look it up.
It was the 3 big ones, right?
Chelsea, West Ham.
Yeah,
is
Arsenal.
David? Here's an important thing. Would you take Moyes over Nuno right now?
No, because we have ambition higher than that, right? Like this is the best that West Ham can possibly be. Last season was essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like, and maybe I'm deluded, and maybe I'm officially we're far enough away that I'm a crazy person for expecting what I saw 2 to 3 years ago under
Palace,
Pochettino.
Chelsea, Arsenal.
Palace, that's the 4th one, right?
Sorry,
yeah, I mean,
Palace.
Look,
fucking Palace.
Fucking Palace.
Love them. I love them. Oh.
What's happened is, and remember I said on our show last week that Nuno seems to have figured out his best 11.
I thought he did too. I was surprised.
But it was against Newcastle, who's the 2nd worst team in this league, right? And
with
you gave
the
up
worst
a goal
coach
in the first 90 seconds.
Although maybe Bruce should manage United. I think he'd be good.
The 2 wrongs make a right.
Because he's a club legend, right? That's all it seems to take.
The thing that was sort of telling to me was, listen, Spurs lost the first half. They should have had a goal from Sonny. Probably could have had one from Kane.
Yeah.
We go into half at 0-0. And Nuno doesn't make any changes until very late on. And sort of that goes to the midweek loss against Vitesse, one of the teams from the Belgian league. Lovely. They lose to them playing a completely different 11, right? Not a single player on both sides.
Oh, there was something that Nuno said that wrangled people. What did he say?
Yeah.
That this is my second team or
This
something?
like none of these players belong here, essentially. Not to that. That was clearly the message that was delivered. And so now, whether it's 0-0 or after even Antonio scores in like the 70th,
he shit on his bench.
His bench is sort of shit. He's not wrong.
Fair enough.
You know, like I don't know. Look,
I
it's
think
not good enough, Robbie. It's not good enough.
I think the issue here is
I don't know what you want to tell you.
The issue here is Skip and Højbjerg are fighting midfielders who battle, and when Spurs are good, they're going to be good because Skip and Højbjerg fucked the other two guys up.
Sure.
And they went against Rice and Souček. They can't fuck those guys up.
No, they can't fuck them up, but I thought that they did well. I thought Rice was quite good, as what you'd expect. And by the way, I think Christian Romero was unbelievable. I thought he was great. Not good, great in this game.
It had 0-0 draw written all over it, right? Like, it's not like you got beat up.
Here's the problem.
It was just a tough game.
Christian Romero, center back, promoted more offense than Harry Kane, than Heung-min Son, right? Yeah. And what I mean by promoted offense, I don't mean shots on goal. I mean, he intercepted a ball. He stepped in like you would expect a defensive mid to do. He read the pass. His vision is unbelievable. If you watch this guy closely, he's fantastic.
Yeah, that's supposed to be his thing, right? At Atalanta, that's what he did.
Right. He's aggressive in that he's like, all right, you're passing it to right. No, you're not. And we're going the other way. He was leading counterattacks like 2 or 3 times.
Maybe Nuno should go to the 3, put Romero in the middle, and make him be Connor Cody, and then he'll really feel comfortable.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, look,
has he tried that yet?
The goal comes from a really, it was actually a very similar play. Reguilon steps in front of a pass, gives it right back, and the corner that results from all of that shit is off of Antonio's foot in the net. Yeah. So.
Again, it's the issue that I think Spurs have had since Eriksen left. And
since Dembele left.
Okay.
Since Dembele left, which is only 6 months difference, but who's counting?
The creativity of break teams down that are in the middle, and especially against that's a really tough midfield. That's a really good West Ham team.
Like,
you're not going to just go to London and beat them. I don't think it's bad to have lost to West Ham. It's just in the context of the season, this game is not going to be a game that you write back and go, "Oh, we should have had that one."
Listen, I was ready for a draw, and I'm not surprised. And I'm not surprised that we lost on a near post set piece. Near post set piece, guys. Have you fucking ever watched West Ham before?
That's all they do.
Cover the big dude. That was the other thing. Why is Harry Kane marking him on a corner kick?
He has to.
Why isn't Romero doing it? Why isn't Dyer doing it? Like he's the fucking striker.
He's always back there. You're not going to score on a counterattack if he's back there. That's one thing for sure.
No. And so look, and this is another one. This is a reactive. Nuno's got to go. He's lost.
No, he's lost.
No, believe me, you don't even know. They've lost. Listen, here's the stat. Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham. They've lost an aggregate 10-1. Okay. And not only that, it's all about, like you said, the manner of the defeat, right?
That's bad in London.
That game sucked. Well, okay. Yeah. You could have had it. You could have had your goals. You didn't. You got fucked on a shit set piece and a shit goal. It happens. Mm-hmm. The way that they lost at the Emirates was shocking.
That was bad.
They got bodied by Chelsea. Chelsea are a much better team. I'm not going to run.
That's fine.
Arsenal are not better than them. Arsenal are patently worse than them, I think. and here they are, just not tracking, not doing anything. So the matter, look, you can lose one of those. It's going to happen. Even if you lose to Arsenal, listen, we're not happy about it, but okay.
Potter in?
No, Thomas Frank in. I want to raid Brighton. Brentford, excuse me.
They did. To be fair, they did lose to Leicester. Your guy Daka that you grabbed off the wire that I swore I had, but he's in, and now I think Vardy's injured.
Pickup of the year.
May the party begin for the Daka party.
BJ, here's your update. I'm 9-0 in Fantasy Premier League. Thank you. On to the next. But no, I think
I probably won
that
too because Salah and Liverpool just annihilated the world.
I just my heart bleeds for Brentford because they were buzzing the
better.
entire first half. By the
They were
way,
better.
on the preview show, I did say that Spurs and West Ham and Brentford and Leicester were playing simultaneously, and I said that I would watch more of Brentford Leicester even before the West Ham goal. That was true. I was like, this game fucking stinks, and this is awesome, and I did. It was great. Leicester, bunkering down, they get a goal. And Brentford had pieces and chances, and they just couldn't get it past Schmeichel. They finally break through off of a corner right after half.
Well, to be fair, Leicester had the early lead because Yuri Tielemans is now the guy who scores the best goals.
That's what I couldn't remember how they got their goal, but yeah, wow.
Yeah, Tielemans is just scoring ridiculous goals.
Oh my God, that was, goal of the month without a question. But that's a goal of the season candidate. That was a thunderbolt.
Again, that's his second one. And then Madison picked one up late, right after Janssen scored on the corner. The thing that's great is, and this is one of those pundit things where now I always notice it. In one of the match of the days, Alan Shearer showed how Brentford do overloads. And if you watch them on any set piece, anything, you'll see Tony and then 4 other guys on the other side with him, where some guys in the back, and you're just like, there's 3 motherfuckers here, and I'm on my own. Now, you'd assume that everyone would just do that or figure it out or try and do it, but I guess they have a counter to it, or they move guys around, and they always end up
too sometimes.
Right. They always end up with 3 against an overload of 4 against 3, 3 against 2 in the back post, where Tony can either pick up scraps or put one in, and sometimes they skip it and it just goes to another guy, because I think putting it into the mixer is kind of a luck and skill. But they do try it, and it does work. And they do get their goals on corners a lot. They're still great. They just getting unlucky, I think.
Well, the funny thing is that Leicester's winner comes off of a counter from a corner, right? And then beautiful.
It was a good counter.
Tielemans again, clearly man of the match, serves in Daka, who goes down the right side and just squares it for Madison, who could tap it in. But that one was a bit of a dagger for my Brentford love and for my Brentford second half money line bet. So that sucked.
Oh, you had a Brentford second.
I went live. I always go live on stuff.
Yeah, you get better.
That one sucked.
Yeah.
But one thing
that was tough. That was fun. I was watching that in the Fan Fest, and I think I was the only person who cheered for the Brentford goal, because everyone was just watching Spurs. You really get a sense of. I'm trying to see if I can get my camera from making me visibly disappear every once in a while, but I can't. But I couldn't. But yeah, I was the only one who cheered for the Brentford goal. I was just watching Brentford the whole time. Everyone's just Spurs. There was some smattering of West Ham. It was all Liverpool and United. So it was just bizarre to be.
Do they only do fan fests when there's a big Liverpool game? I'm so tired of that redhead Seamus.
Oh, he sucks.
He's the worst, dude.
I agree.
Walked outside. I must have been walking the dog or something, and I come back, and my wife Jess is like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" I'm like, "Oh, is
he some crap former wrestler that doesn't?
I don't even know anymore." I was like, "He's the wrestler, isn't he?" I'm like, "Yep, Mike, turn it off. I'm not even gonna watch it." The only reason I watched it on mute, looking for you, but I was like, "This is fucking horrible." I don't know. The first one they did in the city was cool, and I'm like, nah, I've lost it. And the Miami one was kind of funny. The way that they do the Robbies, the shit with the Robbies is fun.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's fun. They do activations. It is growing. I woke up at 4 a.m. I was a mess. I couldn't tell you what was going on. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
By the way, Los Angeles, lots of bums on the trains. So I can tell you how this is going to go. You got to get them off the train. You can't have people living on the fucking trains. Okay. Not great. So pretty gnarly in that sense, but it was cool. I took a couple pictures. It's cool to be at the Coliseum
of the Fan Fest, not the bums.
Both.
Right.
They look like zombies. Yeah. It's cool to be at the Coliseum. I mean, that's, 1926. I was like, hey, the house that OJ built. It's just amazing. That's USC, right? He was a Trojan.
Yep.
So he ran in those fields. What was funny was it's basically a giant version of the Forest Hill Stadium that I lived near. Like it's just super high and vertical, and just a bowl with seats, no frills, nothing, because it was built in 1921.
Right.
But it does have that cool arch there, and it has the flame that's going all the time. So that was very cool to be near. The Robbies came down for a minute, they chatted with some people, but they were pretty well stocked up and taken away. And the funny thing was that I think about, and a game, we've been talking about United, we've been talking about your team, my team, a game that would normally be a game of the week that we haven't even fucking taken care of is our friend Mr. Ranieri. Dilly dong, motherfuckers.
Dilly dilly.
Watford just fucking out of the blue blow Everton out of the water.
Well, no, it wasn't just that, right? And our friend Jess from the Squeaky Bum Time Facebook group which, if you've gotten this far in the show, you're in part of it. You alerted us to that because I was doing a couple other things. A lot of games were in that time slot, and I looked. I was like, oh my goodness, Watford were down 2-1. They took Sarr. They took him off. Right, the player they brought on, Emmanuel Dennis, gets a yellow card. Then he gets 2 assists and a goal. The guy came on in the 63rd minute, I'm pretty sure. Fantastic. Unbelievable. Yeah. So that you end up winning 5-2, but it was on 4 goals in the last 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah. Josh King.
Really.
Josh King got 3 of them.
Josh King, that's right.
Who throws Ancelotti under the bus. He's like, I was there. He never talked to me. I didn't know what I did wrong. I was on the team. I was happy to be there, but he didn't celebrate the first goal because he is a former player. And then progressively, as he scores more goals, he gives less and less fucks. And by the time he scores the 5th, he's basically like taking off his clothes and running around. Like,
that's like a classically English stupid thing too, that I want to touch on real quick. This is why you guys lost award of farmers, like shit like that. Okay. Because you've got George Washington, who's going to attack you on Christmas morning. And you're sitting there like, no. I used to have some friends on that side of the army. Like, you know what? I'm going to respect them. I'm going to let them stab me in the fucking sternum. Like, that's the kind of stupidity that we're talking about here. Celebrate the goal. Celebrate the goal. Heels are good. And we
don't have that in our sports at all, do we? Right? Except, I guess there's only like Johnny Damon going to the Red Sox. He would still fuck them. He didn't care.
Yeah, no. Well, it's the idea of mercenaries, which ironically would be even more felt over there.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't get it. I guess it's the locality.
What you don't have a lot of is like the redemption story, right? Like, put it this way: if a player scores against his old team or whatever, like I get like the muted celebrations, unless they fucked you.
Then, they did. In this case, they fucked him.
Yeah. Then I would take the immediate yellow card. Take the shirt off. And just have an undershirt that says, "I." By the way,
another side note. So what's even crazier? An anecdote on the United game, because I just heard this earlier. It was 10 years to the day of the 6-1.
Ooh.
And the Balotelli "Why always me?" Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said, if only Salah knew he could have just done a "Why always me" shirt too. It would have just killed United. They would have just been like, I hate you, scouse cunts. You fuckers.
Someone would have hurt him. Someone would have went in 2-footed like right away.
We didn't even touch on Pogba being like, I gotta go. Crack.
I didn't start. Which, by the way, it was a Pogba tackle. He was a little salty. He wanted to go in for the ball.
I don't like VAR. I didn't like it. I didn't care. I was like, until I saw how hurt Konate was.
But you can't govern for that. But you can't govern for that. That's not fair. You have to govern on intent, not on results.
I loathe it.
No, I don't disagree. But I think that it was not malicious, but it was a red card. I think. That's
for sure. He totally fucking jacked his leg up. So we do have to cover the worst part of the show, which is how poor our gambling went.
Oh boy, I already alluded to mine.
Let me go through my horror show.
Go for it.
First off, on Friday, Villa plus 300.
I followed you.
Very reasonable. I thought Villa, sure. Arsenal decided today's the day we're going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Or actually, Villa thought today's the day we're going to be terrible.
Awful. And
they were really
into
bad.
Halftime. Oh God, I'm going to get mad again. Going into halftime, they get a bullshit penalty with Aubameyang, And
That was
Emi
bad.
Martinez, who owns Arsenal, knows all about them. He's
You know what?
in
I was going to
Aubameyang's
tell
head.
you, Aubameyang wanted to miss that penalty more than any penalty he's ever missed. His
Why?
face was bad. His body was
Well,
bad.
he just
I
had
was
no
like,
confidence.
he's going to miss this.
He's gonna miss. He's gonna miss.
Body language doctor was like, he's missing this.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
missed.
I felt the same way. He missed and scores on the rebound. A shit goal.
Unlucky.
Complete shit goal for a shit player on a shit team. And
Unlucky.
At that point, I knew the bet was lost because I was like 1-0. I'm like, actually, if Arsenal goes up 1-0, I feel pretty good about this.
So
I might go back in on Villa.
The thing was, I was so certain about was like, no, Tierney, they're fucked. But what I saw from Arsenal was, and I'm going to laugh, just athleticism. Guys running. Yeah. Tomiyasu flying. Tavares everywhere.
And
and
Emile Smith-Rowe was
Bambi
really good.
Running. These guys are athletes. I was like,
really good.
Where is this athleticism coming from? Then I hear the stat, Arsenal has the youngest team in the league. I was like, oh, well, there you go. Yeah. They're 24 years old. So I guess Arteta has a plan. I guess we have to expect up and down results.
And this is why overreactions in punditry are stupid.
I tipped them for Europe. I'm feeling better about it now.
I didn't. But that's because I hate them. I also
I did. I looked at our EPL table predictions. And,
oh God, where did I have them? I had eighth.
You had them.
I had them eighth. I'm fine. I
had Spurs eighth.
Yeah,
but I had Brighton at seventh. That's looking good.
We have the same top three, and 4 through. I had Brentford 11, 4 through 11, even 12. Yeah. West Ham.
Yeah.
Just I pick them out of a hat. None of them matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing that matters is who finishes fourth, but they're all shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to get my Newcastle relegation though.
Not now, not anymore.
Hey, how was I supposed to know that?
Hey, well, I had.
Let me keep my bets going as we go through it. So we had Villa. I had Brighton +1, so I had giving United City a goal at +130. That looked okay for a minute in the second half, but it did not look good in the first half. I was like, oh, they're coming back. They're playing better. Tariq Lamptey came in, did some things in the corner. I was like, ooh, nice. Sexy time. But then City got another goal, so they lost 4-1. I was like, okay, well, whatever. That's not the end of the world. And then the last two
you got fucked on it.
I almost won on the United to score.
Well, you should have, because, I mean, that was one that, that one felt like last season. I'm talking about the VAR on Ronaldo.
Oh, that was I was just.
This is why, okay, and you're going down the rabbit hole of degenerate gamblers like myself, because
no, I'm not.
In a 5-0, no, you are a little bit, because here's why. In a 5-0 game, Ronaldo scores, and I went, oh shit, Laurent won his bet. And then, but it was the problem is the VAR with the offsides. They've been different about it this year, but the way, and they don't give a lot of explanation. Like, the one thing I will say about American sports is that, like, the NFL or NHL or whatever, like, they explain why the call is what it is. Now, you may not agree, and it frankly may not clarify all that much, but they at least give a half-ass try. You don't get any context, and all you see is the line, and it's like, nope.
And the guy going like this,
right? But I was under the impression that that this year that was a good goal, and I was kind of.
It looked good.
I looked
his
good.
Arm. I thought they moved the arm up. Whatever. It was. Yeah. He was a lean offside, it wasn't his feet.
Right.
And then
exactly.
I had already lost the Liverpool bet when they were up 4-0 at halftime because I had draw Liverpool win.
You did.
So that didn't go well. So I don't know why I think if we talked about it on the show, we just thought the passion and the way that United sort of get these weird results and the passion and how they stand up in these games. One of the things I thought about with United is maybe they're in like the Rafa Benitez to Steve Bruce mold, where as much as they hated Mourinho, he got them to defend.
Yeah.
And the longer Ole is in that team, the less the principles of defense are there. And they're just going, and slowly but surely now they're just like, what do we? I don't know what to do. Right? Like, it's just really bad. I mean, the Pogba thing. Pogba's problems showed up again. By the way, the last goal, caught on the ball, bing bang boom, bing bang bosh, gone. Now that wasn't his fault. I feel like Fred gave him the ball and it's like, dude, why did you give me
But
the
that's
ball?
what I'm saying. Like,
Anyway, last one. No, I don't. That was it. Yeah, Liverpool draw win
yeah.
plus 500, Villa plus 300, Brighton plus 130, one goal. Yeah, I didn't win anything.
I think
we
I
went.
think I eventually put like 5 or 6 bets in for the Premier League this weekend, and I went over. Like, I didn't remember all of them. I lost all of them. College football went well though, so I only ended
Well,
up
because
down
think
a
about
little
who we
bit.
would have bet on. We would have bet on Aston Villa. We would have bet something on Brentford and Tony scoring a goal. We would have bet something on Spurs winning the corners against West Ham.
See, now you're
All
getting
the
into the
things
nitty-gritty.
all the things that we are into because we like the teams we like, right? We're not going to look
Yeah.
for great value. We would have crackered some weird combination of draws and wins and lost because it was a weird weekend. Like no one was going to, although I did think, and I have seen the numbers, like if you put plus 5 goals, Norwich, Chelsea, you probably was like plus 5,000.
Well, no, Chelsea was a good candidate because there was no Lukaku. They were sort of a makeshift backline. They weren't a good candidate for Norwich to
No,
get a
but plus,
result.
I'm saying like total goals in a game. You would have
Oh yeah,
killed on that
the
number.
team total, sure.
Yeah. Even combined team total would have been huge.
Yeah, but when I looked at Chelsea, that was one of them I had. I had draw and Chelsea, halftime, full time, because I was like, look, they don't have their striker. They're going to be a little bit muddled. And you know what? For the first 5-10 minutes, they fucking were. And then Norwich was like, here you go. Oh, God damn it, guys. So that pissed me off. That's what started my whole Chelsea rant. I'm like, that fucking
Big Sam in. Come on,
flat
we need him
track
back.
bullies.
That's who Norwich need. They need Big Sam.
Yeah.
Come on, isn't it worth?
I know
winning
Charlie
the league?
wants him.
You know what? They can bring Farka back when they go down if they go down. If they want. Come on, that's extra Norwich content for everyone. That's everyone.
That's bonus.
Anyway, I think we did a lot. I thought this was really good. I enjoyed this episode. We didn't ramble. We talked. There was a lot to fucking talk about. Jesus,
There was.
I don't think we missed anything. Can we have missed anything?
Probably.
Do you have anything left in you?
No.
I have one. I have one thing that's annoying about my own team. I love the drama, and I think I like the Schadenfreude of United losing more than my own team winning. My team is boring.
Yeah.
They just have no, it's only on the field. There's no extra stuff.
I have
none.
One. This is another bet that I lost. I bet on, so I had Villa, and then I had in a smaller parlay, I had Villa, Chelsea, and Wolves. Now let's pretend for a second.
Oh, I forgot about those other teams. We just give the scores of our other friends.
But no, it doesn't even matter. But this is interesting because let's pretend that Villa wins on Friday. Chelsea smash Norwich, as we've talked about. Wolves are up 1-0 the whole game. And Leeds get a bullshit penalty after the allotted time had ended in the 95th or 6th minute. And that's how Mike needs a new TV, because there's the cell phone size hole in it. So I'm actually glad that I lost that bet on Friday, because I would have been irate. Now, I would have hedged it at some point, but I still would have been
it was
so
a 94th minute draw.
Yeah, it was bad.
Our Brentford of last season, Mr. Leeds.
And that was, I want to say, like, that parlay was like plus like 900, right? Oof. So I'm like, look, I lost it already, so I just didn't care. But I was keeping the tabs on that game, and I went, oh my God, in a parallel universe, I just broke my hand on something like a stud in the wall or something. Like, holy shit, that would have made me crazy.
Oh, I do have one. I have one more thing. We have one new friend in the league.
Who?
Maxwell Cornet of Burnley.
Oh, Burnley, that's right. Yes.
He scores good goals, and I'm petrified of him.
He does.
He's another one of these French African guys that just have the juice. That's what City needs. They need more African. They need my kind of Africans.
They need
not Riyad Mahrez. They need Mika Richards. They need those big, badass battering rams.
Yaya. That's who it is.
Oh, I'm desperate for a Yaya.
Yeah.
Like if Basuma gets cleared and City signed Basuma,
they won't. They won't.
For me.
They would never do that. After the whole Mendy thing, they're going to maybe steer clear for a little bit. No, they're going to keep a low fucking profile.
They have disappeared, Mendy. He's just...
Yeah, he's an unperson. They're going to let Newcastle be the bad guys for a little while. They're just going to lay low, collect their fucking trophies.
And Maximin play on the same team. I'm not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Because now Raheem Sterling is like really a candidate for Newcastle.
Really?
Yeah, because he's not playing. He's mad.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll get those checks. I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up.
Let's get out of
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the real football wing of the Chop Sports Network. I don't even
Ooh.
know what happened to the Stars of Dallas, or whatever they're called. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And please write reviews on Apple. Someone wrote a new one. I don't know who it was, but thank you. And one of them was my wife. It says it's labeled not my wife. So it is my wife. So we need more wives. There were a lot of people at your wedding, Mike. They should be writing reviews for our podcast.
That's a really good point.
They don't like us. So anyway.
I should have put something in the gift bags, like review our podcast.
That would have been amazing. All right, Mike.
Yeah.